suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians, and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
It's one of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
I got Winnie Fox.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another week of Stoned Appetit with your host. As always, it's me, Kipping across the way. I got CB. How are you, Christopher?
I mean, after a weekend in the mountains, I couldn't be better. The crisp air, the cool climate, it was all great.
It felt like autumn was very close by, and I hope that that may be the case. We have great weather. You know, this evening we got a little cold air coming through with the storm, but it's a good time to be a Coloradan as our favorite season, autumn, is upon us. We had a big weekend last weekend. We'll dive into that and all that is ahead of us. But before we dive into the news and things along those lines, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Chris, you know that we fucking love our friends over at Standing Akimbo, and it's because they are doing the Lord's work. They're giving us great discounts on high potency cannabis, and you can't find a better deal in the state. So if you're looking for flower, concentrates, edibles, it does not matter. If you are a medicinal patient, you need to get over to 3801 Jason Street. Standing Akimbo has fresh drops every single day of the week, some of which can be found online when shopping through their website. If you wanted to avoid the wait and do all of your shopping beforehand, you can definitely do that, but you may miss out on some of the great flower drops that they have every single day. To know more about what they have coming down the pike, you can follow them on social media at shop at Standing Akimbo. So that's the at symbol, shop at Standing Akimbo, or you can go to Standing Akimbo's website through any of their social channels. Just give them a quick Google search and you'll see their dispensary, highly regarded as one of the best in the city. We fucking love them because they're saving us money and they're making sure we get the products that we want. Yee-yee. And Chris, we would be remiss if we did not give a shout out to our other sponsors. You know who they are.
Seed and Smith.
Do it for us. Give us the rundown, Chris.
As you know, we love all their products, especially the recently launched Stoned Appetit Dart Pod.
Ayo.
Great. It strokes, works well with all your seasonal summer activities. But that's not it. They've got great flower, great pre-roll joints, and they have two different locations that can serve you. We got the one out in the burbs. Where's that at, Kip?
We have one right there on Oakland Street in the Commerce City area, en route to or fro the airport.
And our other one,
the flagship location up in Louisville on Heckler Way, just outside of downtown, right around the bend from one of our favorite coffee shops, Precision Pours.
Yes, we like to refer to that home store as the Apple Store of weed dispensaries. It's got a great setup. It's got tons of merch and all their great products, as well as other great products that we know and love.
That is true. They don't just sell their products at their dispensary. They have a whole gamut of products. So if maybe you've seen Smith or you're looking for a specific edible, you can find them at their locations, but they have great products across the whole SKU. And I'm puffing tough on it today.
Nice.
But, you know, so we're having a good time. We've got our lovely sponsors. So let's get into the episode today. Let's start with the weekend that you kind of talked about. Vail, give us the rundown.
First of all, the drive up there on I-70, we're happy to report at I-70 things that it all went smoothly.
Yeah, the Saturday morning trek up was definitely smooth sailing for us. Maybe some folks that didn't have the same luxuries, but if you can find a way to avoid, you know, fucking 70 traffic, you're always playing with hot grease. So,
yeah. So, I mean, the weekend started off great. We arrived in Vail like right around noontime and right in time to enjoy kind of like a side event with the Vail wine, which was that whiskey and wine pairing at, is it Roots and Flower?
It is, Chris.
Yes. So that was awesome. We sat down, we got to eat a 3-course kind of like pairing lunch which had like a Thai coconut green curry with shrimp. We had a flank steak, and then we had this kind of chocolate pot de creme to end the lunch with. All were paired with different wines and then a lot of booze from the 10th Mountain Distillery.
Yeah, so those cocktails were flowing, and what a way to start the day. It was a good call because you definitely want to get that base of food, underneath the mountains of booze. And so for anybody that may be attending Breck Wine Classic, or even like Rare Steak Fest this week, or for Denver Food and Wine in a couple weeks, if you can get that foundation of food down before you start just like housing different alcohols, it's a glorious situation because it really sets you up for success throughout the day and the evening.
Yeah, and let's be honest, no matter how well you monitor your tasting levels and things like that, you're going to leave there with a buzz. So for future attendees, like the Vail Wine Festival was great. It wasn't overcrowded. Like the area where they did it was great. All the booths you could get to, little bit of bites here and there from oysters, cheeses, meats. I thought it was fucking fantastic.
Dude, it was a great the food in the village was delicious. The vibe at the event, it wasn't overly packed. They spread out all the patrons fairly well. Obviously they have multiple days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they had like little tasting events like our lunch, but they had different kinds of ways to go about it. They had some that were fun little golf tournament experiments where you could play with some of the winemakers, just fun shit to get you out talking about wine, and so the event itself was cool as a cucumber. And I think the best part was that you get so blasted you're asleep by 9:30 or 10 o'clock.
Right. I was going to say we didn't do much in town after that. We went and checked out a local bar, grabbed some nachos, had a drink, but then we took it back to the house. So it was a perfect evening, a great time. I would go back 100%.
Hell yeah. And then before we left town, I guess one other thing, Happy Monkey, the cannabis marketing company or crew that was out of New York, were here Thursday and threw a little kick-ass party. Those are some cool motherfuckers. So shout out to the Happy Monkey team. They are doing some cool shit in the East Coast. And then whenever they're traveling, they're trying to get like-minded individuals together for a smoke sesh, pop-up locations across their cities that they're in. And they just so happen to do one right there in the Rhino area. Took over like a penthouse apartment down in off Brighton and threw a little smoke sesh. And so it was really cool to see folks in the community, run into friends that we know, like McCarter and Chris from over the other Chris from the Patterson Hotel, ran into the Lauren from Kush Cards, cool shit like that, So there's cool people in the community.
Always.
Yeah, but Chris, there's also some shitheads in the community. The Denver Westward talked about a company earlier this year, 2022. They wrote an article about how the company allegedly from 1906, the edible brand out of Colorado, this is all alleged from what we've been reading, over the last couple of years, they had a possible toxin in their midnight drops. We posted about it on social media, but it's called Corydalis. It's a plant that is linked to help, bind the efficacies of these, pills that you're taking at night with the THC compound that's in the medicine. So apparently that has also been linked to elevated risk of fucking liver injury. So it's like poisoning or toxining people's livers when you're taking these things, whether it be nightly. So let's say you have sleep issues and you're taking 1906 midnight to kind of help get yourself to sleep or stay asleep rather than taking like a melatonin or other edibles. Well, these cunts were apparently using these plant-based solutions that were fucking poisoning folks. And then so apparently this past March, they redid the medicine's compound to eliminate the use of this Corydalis plant. But as they've recently gone into other markets, so in Colorado, they've obviously been prevalent here. for a couple years now. Everybody kind of looked to them as doing stuff the right way or being a beacon of quality products, or reliable products. And then they just quietly, after years of knowledge about this stuff, apparently poisoning their patrons, fucking just switched it over in March because they were starting to go into other markets and couldn't have this product in their, I guess, recipe. So Massachusetts Marijuana Agency put out a huge PSA about the toxin levels and saying that it's almost to the levels of that you would require a fucking recall. And so while they say it's not necessarily a recall, they've gone through all the steps, and they've gone through all the commissional steps for the health and safety of patients and consumers, which is why they've opened an investigation, but they're not ordering a recall. And I just have a question, Chris. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah.
These people have just been poisoning people for years, and the only reason they actually ever changed it was not because they actually thought they were in the wrongdoing. What it was because they wanted to expand and they knew that it was going to bite them in the ass in other locations. The fuck?
Right. I mean, and I guess the one good thing is that there are these regulatory practices that review these products and stuff. But why did it take so long for them to catch this? Like, they've been selling this product, and I'm sure like Coloradans have, through 1906's marketing, had probably really thought highly of this brand and company. And it's just kind of shitty that I would assume they probably knew that this compound they were using had negative effects.
I mean, there's proof. There's been proof shared through, I guess, the Freedom of Information Act. Dan Adams from the Boston Globe was able to post some of these pictures, as well as a combination of other people on the Twitter and Reddit spheres, that showed this woman reaching out via email saying that she's tried to speak with people repeatedly on live agents and things of that nature and couldn't get somebody, but got a hold of the CEO, and he replied to this email of January of 2021 about, hey, sorry to hear your husband's in the hospital with toxic levels of this goddamn Corydallis. Keep us posted how, his health comes along. And he said that he had only heard less than 10 times about it. But that means that if the CEO has heard about it 9 fucking times, or this may be in that Darren Ravel type situation where he's like, I have, less than or more than 9, but less than 11 pieces of memorabilia from the NAACP. That's what this Peter guy sounds like. He's like, we've got less than 10 complaints of people being poisoned by the medicine, but we understand the complaints. And it wasn't until this fucking March that they switched it with a different herb called Stefania. I'm sure I'm butchering the verbiage of how to say both of those, but I watch Great British Baking Show, so I call it herbs and Stefania. Fuck those people. But anyway, and then I spoke with a dispensary owner, Chris, and then I asked him about this report in the last week, and about, do y'all sell 1906, or, how do they do on the markets? And he said that it's been a while since, I guess, there was a third-party independent agency that urged or asked them to switch out the poisonous molecule, so it wasn't under their own volition. And since doing so, the products have not been as effective or maybe as worthwhile. And so some folks have noticed that they don't have as much pizzazz and they haven't sold as well in recent months. But at the same time, we've been hearing about how the cannabis market's in the pooper anyway. So it could be a combo of things. But it seems like this douchebag was just continuously going about what either was it was cheaper, or it was already the system in place, so he didn't want to change things out. But people underneath him had heard these complaints of these toxins and this poisoning of the fucking liver.
Yeah. So I guess I guess our advice to consumers is check that ingredient label on the products you buy, just to ensure your safety. Like, make sure they aren't containing that whatever the name, that fucking
Dallas.
Corydallis. Yeah. Just be smart. But at the same time, these companies need to hold themselves